Hello, everyone. This is James R. Sims with Dad Talk Podcast. We are interviewing author Ralph Watkins tonight. And as you can tell, he has a lot of books that he's actually published. So we're going to go through and we're going to ask him a couple of questions about his journey as far as being an author, as far as being a poet, and just how did he find his muse? What were the things that inspired him to write, and also what keeps him motivated in sharing his poetry with the world? So we're going to get into the podcast, and we're going to get into the recording of Ralph actually sharing his information and sharing his story with us. To begin with, let's share with you a couple of his books. Here's one. So you can actually find this book, like the other books, on Amazon. So you can look them up. That's Waiting, The Unfaithful Runner, Butterfly's Life, Poetry and Prose, A Race to the Finish, DC Native Son, Winning Combination 2. From the Cradle to the Grave, In Too Deep, Mural Image, Wingless Angel, Back on the Block, From the Heart, and last but not least, Soaring. So yes, you can look him up on Amazon. You can Google him and definitely check him out when he's at Busboys and Poets there in the DC area. So we're going to get to the interview right now. So enjoy the interview. And again, follow him on Instagram. Follow him on Facebook under Ralph Watkins. And you can also find him under his tag name, or the one name that is connected to him is DC Native Son. So you can type that in anywhere and you will find his work. So let's get to it. What was like one of your very first poems, if you could ever, if you can think back? You know, what was the baby? What was the thing that actually started everything?
Well, I wish I could say I had those literary works with me now, or I was able to keep it. But most of the type of writing that I did then is just growing up as a child, not getting something that you wanted, being told no, being punished, being sent to your room, being spanked, getting mad after being spanked, going to your room, going into a closet, trying to hide from, they don't need me, they don't like me, they don't love me, type situation poems. I hate my mom, I hate my dad, I hate the world. and trying to figure out maybe there's some love, we say, okay, if I don't have mom and dad and they spank me, then they don't love me, then I have to have an alternative. Who do I turn to?
Right.
So you come to find out, well, if there's somebody outside of friends and family, someone that loves me, so it got to be God. It got to be somebody out there that loves me. So I started writing poems to God. God, help me. God, save me. Take me away from this family with all these children. Give me more than what I have. So the inspiration of feeling something, those earlier childhood feelings of want, need, love, searching for beauty out of what we have, necessity, wanting more. I guess that's a strong feeling as a child, because you can't go past McDonald's without wanting something. You can't go in a candy store without wanting something. And if somebody tell you can't have something, really,
right, right,
and being disciplined, no child wants to be disciplined, because that doesn't feel like love when I'm being disciplined on any level. I don't care if you spank my hands, I'm mad at you. I don't like you no more.
Right.
So I have to have somewhere else to turn to. If I don't like or love you and you're my parents, then where else do I turn? So it's a growing period, and you write. You go to pencil and paper. I don't love my mommy and my daddy. My grandmother don't call me often enough, and I don't think maybe I can go stay with grandma. Those type of situations.
Gotcha. Yep. And I remember we had conversation, the other day, just talking about, old school DC, how DC used to be called Chocolate City, and all of the things that you had to go through just growing up in the area. There's one book that the title of it is Back on the Block. So it's a homage to your, First and R, your neighborhood in DC. Could you tell those folks that are not familiar with that neighborhood, and back when you were coming up, how that neighborhood kind of shaped you and things that you actually went through on First and R?
Well, I was more like a transplant onto First and R Street. So that wasn't the earlier block that I was born and raised in.
Right.
So we moved into the neighborhood a little bit late, maybe my early teens. Well, maybe, a little bit early, say maybe about 9, 10 years old. So preteen. And so it was a matter of going to elementary school, trying to find your niche. You didn't come in where everybody else come in the first day of school, kindergarten, first, second, third grade, fourth grade. Now you're in. You're the new kid on the block.
Right.
So you don't have the same type of relationship as maybe some of the other kids, younger kids, older kids. You have to make your way. And then we talk about bullying. You don't think bullying has been existing since day one.
Right.
So you have to earn your rite of passage on the street. So how tough are you? When you're walking up and down the block, when you're by yourself, when you're playing basketball, when you're playing football, the friendly sports. So when somebody look at you wrong, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Everybody is looking at, even as young as 9 years old, what kind of kid are you? What are you made? What are you made of? So everybody want to try to find out what you are. And when you get tried or punked, as we say, as you're growing up, and you get pushed or shoved a few times, knocked to the ground, when you don't have your friends or family around you, maybe you do, and they like, well, I thought you can handle yourself, and so you may run back home crying from a couple of nicks and punches. You wasn't expecting to get punched. You wasn't expecting to lose a fight today during lunchtime or during recess, where you lost the fight, and then you're literally boo-hooing and try to figure out, how am I going to lose the next fight? And then the fight after that, and the fight after that, and they learn to toughen up. It's like, I'm gonna start working out.
Right.
10 years old. I'm gonna start doing something so that I can so I can earn my right in this neighborhood, my right in this school, and earn my right to be able to walk down the hallway without somebody pushing me. And or if you don't do that, then you need to find a buddy system. We talking about bullying. I need a buddy system.
Right.
Meaning you need to find a cat, a dude, or somebody that can beat beat your foe, beat your enemy.
Right.
So I don't need bring them some candy. Bring them hey man, let me buy you some ice cream. Let me walk with you, dude. Let me carry your books.
Right.
You find a way to figure it out how not to get messed with all the time.
Right.
So you start hanging out with the bigger guys, bigger than the guys that would mess with you. And they're like, man, you got everything with you, everything all right with you, little brother? Man, everything all right, but this one cat, which you already knew, this is your way of, hey, he been bothering. So they say, look, dude, you have any problems, you come let me know.
True.
So you as a child, as you're growing up, you find ways to survive. Right. You find ways. You don't realize. I thought about it the other day. How do you prevent bullying? It's hard when you're not in it. You're not thinking about it. You learn to run fast. Right. You start, walking in groups, or you start taking different directions from school. Right. Where you would normally go left, you go right. True. Or you stay longer behind school. Look out the window, see if they going out there usual way, and you go out a different way. You try to avoid bullying, so you don't get bullied. Somebody coming up there, what do bullies do? What do bullies do? They're like, what do you think bullies do? Right. Bullies take something from you. They take your dignity away from you. Right. They want, they take your money away from you, take your lunch away from you. They take anything they think you got away from you until they feel comfortable enough that anytime they see you, come here, little man. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, what is it?
But that's the way of the city, you gotta go through those hard times. And I saw something earlier on the I think I was on IG, and the guy was hitting his son, right? Right. He's taking a ball and he was throwing the ball up against his stomach, and he was hitting him, and throwing the ball up against him, right? So I remember coming up, they used to catch you, run outside, and they catch you, and they just go to your body, boom, 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 just to make you, tougher, So those were the things that they used to do, back then. Now, my podcast is called Dad Talk Podcast, right? So what we always try to do is impart some type of information to either, our peer group, for the kids coming up, something that we have learned in order to impart to them and let them know, hey, don't go that route, or this is something that you need to think about before you go in that particular manner, how to be a young man, how to be a young girl, how to respect yourself, and then still be able to earn the respect of others by you staying consistent and staying solid. So what in your opinion are some things that you have, learned coming up that makes you who you are right now, that keeps you grounded and keeps you, in a way that you have taken what you've learned and pass it on to your son, pass it on to other people, and share with the world? What are those things that have that you've learned over the years that have strengthened you in that way and helped you to deliver that message to the next person?
I think one of the things that sticks out while I was growing up, in a large family, you don't have a lot of money flowing through the family. You don't have enough nickels and dimes and quarters to buy yourself a bag of potato chips or a soda. And it wasn't much back then, but 50 cents was a lot. It didn't have it. You were even trying to scrape up 17 cents to go down to People's on North Capitol Street. anything that you could do. So you had to learn, if you want a little bit more than what mom put on the table, or what you ate at school, or when we went to summer camp, the little free lunch, you know, you depended on every meal that you got served during the day. So outside of that, you had to hustle, and hustle is what a lot of, you know, young people do. You cut grass. I cut grass with a push lawnmower, me and my brother, and the push lawnmower was bigger than us at that time. We could, I mean, he grabbed a handle, one side of the handle, I grabbed one side of the handle, and that's how much of a struggle when we were that small that we could not push a push lawnmower. One of us couldn't do it. You needed both of us. We sitting up there, the handle was higher than us, but we would walk around because if you're familiar with that push lawnmower, it had wheels. We'd bring that in a rake, and we try to find anybody up and down the block around the corner that will allow us to cut their grass. Wasn't much into dog walking, but we would do something as far as shovel snow, rake leaves. We rake a lot of leaves. Just walk around and knock on the door and say, Miss Johnson, Miss Brown, is there anything that you need that I can do for you to make a couple of dollars or a couple of quarters? So you hustle. You learn to hustle, and the hustle itself gave you something that you didn't have. It gave you some money in your pocket so you can buy some things for yourself. A soda, a bag of candy. That was a lot. Maybe some French fries and put some ketchup in it. You know, something that somebody else of a large family didn't have every day. So I believe in, as you grow up as a child, if you get an opportunity to go out and do an honest hustle, you'll grow up and you'll always hustle, but you take more pride in your hustle and your approach, and appreciate the people that looked out for you along the way.
Gotcha. Definitely. Now that's some good information there, because they're missing that nowadays. You know, kids want it now. I thought that coming up, we were in a microwave society. They want it now. They don't want to do the work. I tell them every day, I said, look, that phone that you have, that takes away the hustle, because everything that you need to know is right there in that smartphone. They can easily just go, boom, you know, hey Google, hey whatever, and it all comes up, you know. But yeah, if you don't have that drive and that hustle within you, that's just like the base, you know, that's your foundation, you know. So that's always going to be in you. So, you know, segueing into the next question is, do you feel that from your background, it has led you to express yourself the way that you have expressed yourself because of your background, because of being in a large family, because of going without and having to hustle? You know, is that the driving force for you to put out so much material and to do what you're doing as far as expressing yourself when you're doing your poetry and your spoken word and you're writing your books?
I think that being in a large family, you're always struggling to be heard, to be seen, finding your voice. So as you grow older and you going to school and you go out into the world and you're in the workplace, and you're always trying to find your niche, your voice, your platform, because there's too many people want to move you from left to right, and you have to, because if the thing says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Right.
And so where are you on this subject? Where are you on that subject? Do you believe in this? Okay. Or are you kind of shaky with that? So if you're really not sure, without offending anybody, it's better. And if you don't have enough information, that the whole saying that says it's better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. So if I'm not for certain on certain things, I'm not going to speak on that subject. But at the same time, if I'm comfortable and confident in the area that I grew up in, a strong family background, I can speak strongly on my background. Growing up, born and raised in a Catholic church, I can sit, kneel, chew gum with the best of them. I got a lot of gum up under the pews in the churches that I've attended,
Right.
you know, because I can speak because I've done it. I've gone through whatever trenches that I've gone through, public school, what you get in it, what you put into it.
Right.
You know, Mr. Watkins, hello, can you hear me? Mr. Watkins, you allow children to do what they want to do. They're going to do just what they want to do.
Right.
And I've always said, I'm a product. I'm not proud of it sometimes, but I'm a product of the public school system. You know, and I'm not saying that as, you know, waving a banner, because we've had a lot of successful people come out of Washington, D.C. public schools. And so you can sit somewhere and get something out of it. But if you don't attend the class, you're not going to get anything out of it. But if you're around people of knowledge, of inspiration, whether in class or out of class, you're gonna get something if you're listening. But if you're out there doing the wrong thing, you're going to get caught up doing the wrong thing. And so back to what we're saying is, being in a large family, you're trying to find your voice. You want your voice to be heard. And I've learned, if I'm going to say something, it's going to normally be on something that I was taught. Don't do this. You shouldn't wear your hat in the house. You should wear a t-shirt when you're wearing a collared shirt, when you're going out on to work or to church. You shouldn't walk around with your pants falling down. You should have a belt.
Right.
The way the way you should dress, the way you should look, the way you respect people. Yes, sir. No, sir. When they're older than you, or your aunt or your uncle or somebody older in the neighborhood, you treat everybody with respect. So a lot of times you see people doing things that are outside of your upbringing. You have a choice. You can address it. You can address something by just looking at it, or say a few words, or you know, it's hard these days because parents don't want to listen, and nobody wants anybody speaking to my child. So, and I grew up in that environment. You can speak to anybody, but you can't speak to my child, even though we say it takes a village to raise a child. But you're not from my village. Right. Okay, if you're from my village, if you're in my village, yeah, by all means, speak to my child, correct him anywhere you see him. But if you're not from my village, then don't touch him. You have no rights. You have no say so, and I don't give you any privilege. Right. So, we're just finding our way, finding our voice, and speak on the areas that you feel comfortable and confident in.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's definitely something to take home and to understand, is that always speak on what you know, and don't make a fool out of yourself or ass out of yourself. You know, going there and portraying something that you're not. You know, because you know, before long, what's gonna happen? They're gonna pull that card, right? And
exactly.
You know, really stand up and be about what you said. You know, I was looking at some other titles that you have here, and for all of those who have just joined, we are talking to Ralph Watkins. He's a poet, he's a writer, a soldier, a father, a husband, a friend. I would say a pillar of the community, DC's native son. So I'm looking at the different titles of your work. So we have In Too Deep. We have From the Cradle to the Grave. We have Wanting. We have The Unfaithful Runner. Butterfly's Life, Poetry and Prose. A Race to the Finish. Winning Combination 2. Wingless Angel. The Mural Image. Your Move. And then we have the other two that we were talking about, well, the other three that we were talking about: Soaring, From the Heart, and Back on the Block. So a lot of these, the titles to them, they have a lot of meaning to them, and it seems like from reading through them is like a connection, and everything that you do and everything that you go through, you really express it through word. You know, what we have lost, I think, a lot of times now in this generation, we've lost that wisdom, you know.
Okay.
So we've lost those old sayings. We've lost the way of being, we've lost that. How do you tap into that, being that now you're in I think the next generation is listening, per se, when you go out there and you're in front of them and you're speaking. How do you what I'm saying is, how would you per se approach the younger generation and how you are delivering your word? How do you feel, how effective do you think that you can be in everything that you have within these pages and what you have as far as your knowledge and your understanding of life? How could, if there's a young lady or male here that is listening, how can you impart your knowledge? Because remember, you said it's kind of hard when we're talking about villages. And I'm well aware of it because, we're from the same area where you're on our street. I might be downtown or I might be across the water, and the southeast side, southwest side, that's my village. And you can't say or do anything to my folks from my village, even though they might be acting a fool. And what you're doing right now, what do you feel that you can do to talk to that young lady, talk to that young man right now to kind of help them out, along the way?
Okay,
so question, but get to it.
So let's go a little bit further back, and then we're gonna come up.
Okay.
We talked about the titles of the books.
Right.
And originally, the books talk about are writings that I've written over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised in a large family, going to a Catholic church, public schools, going into the military, Army and Marines, growing up in the inner city, and a larger family outside of my initial family. Mm-hmm. So what I've always wanted to do as you grow up, you want to be able to maintain communication with people, young people your age, and older people that live around you in your neighborhood, and people outside your neighborhood. You want to be able to always maintain connection with your race and other races.
Gotcha.
Our world and their world. So you cannot be just a person born and raised in DC that don't have any communication skills outside the Northeast corridor.
There you go.
You have to be able to relate to other people when you want or need something, understand the language. So you have to learn the terminology of, like we used to say, putting your ear to the track. You can hear when a train is coming 2 miles away, 5 miles away. You got to know when something is coming. Mm-hmm. You got to learn to ear hustle. You have to just sit there and listen to young people, not being nosy. You don't have to get into the conversation. And you're like, wow, what did that word mean? Right. What did that mean? Because you know how we used to say, oh, he bugging. What do you mean he bugging? He tripping. What do you mean he tripping? Is he high? Is he stoned? I say stoned. That's like, what do you mean?
Right.
You tell that to a young person, stoned, they may or may not. I'm like, stoned. What do you mean stoned? Somebody throw a rock at him? No, I'm not talking you got stoned. But so we have to be able to first break down and maintain terminology.
Communication. Yeah.
With communication.
That's what's up.
And sometimes it's not just about me talking to you. It's me listening to you. What are you doing? I'm listening to you. I want to be able to understand. You tell me what's going on and what you feeling. I don't want to just come at you because that's what you're feeling. That I'm just coming at you and telling you, and you feel in my spirit. I'm judging you.
Right.
And nobody want to be judged. I can tell already you're judging me by the way you're looking at me because, well, I'm just listening to you. I'm gonna reassure you. I want to hear you out with what's going on. So we have to be able to keep ourselves up, maintain ourselves. Don't be so quick to judge when you see somebody because of the way we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, because it's easy for me to look at a kid. Somebody asks, that kid walked in the building, walked in the church. He got his hat on,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody want to beat him down like they 5-0 because the kid got his hat on, but he in church. But he don't wear. You're not supposed to wear a hat in church. That's the way we were raised.
Right.
You know. So kid got his pants falling down. He's in church. But that's our mentality. So it's just like, okay, so what we want to do is allow some space of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a child walking to church and he doesn't take his hat off. So he said, we're going to make the kid miss his blessing because we got about 30 people that's ready to beat him down.
Mm-hmm.
Or he comes and sit in class because he got his hat on. So you put him out of the class because he got his hat on.
Right.
Is that where we at? Because let me be something for real. This is real.
Mm-hmm.
I wore my hat to school. I knew I was wrong. It took the teacher trying to fight me to take my hat off, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what she didn't realize, I had a real tore up haircut. It was tore up. Tore up. And she made me pull it to where the middle of the hat came over my head.
Right.
So we didn't really establish anything, did we?
Right. We
didn't ask what's wrong, is anything you want to talk about, or allow that person to have their space and then tell them at another time, say, look, let him get his blessing. Let him feel wanted. Hug him with his hat on his head.
Right.
Allow the kid to sit there with his hat in the classroom if he didn't understand the rules or get the rules the first day, or maybe he's having a bad day. And if you come into school or come somewhere in a bad day, I don't have my hat on, but I got about 100 of them. Addressing my hat is not really the issue.
Right.
We didn't communicate. That brings it back to where we are. We did not communicate. He had a lot going on, or she had a lot going on, and you judging them by the way they dress, the way they look, by their personal appearance, by the way they smell. And I wasn't able to even take care of my hygiene this morning. But yeah, first thing you want to do is laugh, carry sidebar conversation like I couldn't hear you, instead of trying to help me. You know, so we got to be we got to be better communicators, and we got to be able to communicate with people of all races, and because the way they were raised, the way they clean, the way they do something, the way they don't put on deodorant, I'm not judging. And, you know, they may not want to put chemicals on their body. But it's like, so we may be quick to judge them because it's not the way we were raised. But from another village, we're not going to sit here and put chemicals on a body. We're not going to eat this type of food. So we got to be better communicators, and we got to be better understanders of other people's cultures and the way people were raised in their household.
Got you. So communication definitely is key. Because, you know, every generation, they say, oh, this generation is worse than the last generation. This generation here is worse than the one before. But, yeah, that's definitely, you know, something with bringing them in and letting them know, hey, let's communicate. You know, I'm not going to get on you about what you got going on, because I don't know what half of the stuff that you got going on. So I'm not just going to take your outer appearance of how you acting and just figure that you knew better, you know, like, oh, no, you should know better. Some folks grow up and they don't know better, you know. So there is a such thing where they don't know because they were never taught, you know. So that's definitely a good way to approach it, you know, is to express that and to make sure that they understand that they can come as they are, and then, you know, those lines of communication are open. Now, what are you doing nowadays with your work and with your poetry? Let everyone know what you do, whether it's daily, whether it's every week. What do you do with your poetry now?
Well, one of the things that I do whenever I'm out in public, I'm always sharing poetry, whether it's 7-Eleven, Danny's, restaurants, shoppers. I'm always sideshow, freak show, bottom up, top down, drink up, smoke up, let it all ride. Every so often, a pissed off ant is born. No matter how much you feed him breast milk, he's never happy. I'm always singing, dancing. I'm not much of a singer, but I'm getting people's attention. I'm drawing them in. I'm always drawing them in. You know, they'll look, I'm standing in lines like, wow, that sounds nice. And by me doing that, I'm able to extend myself. It's not just about sharing poetry. It's about sharing myself and communicating words. And I was like, I'll just, whatever hits me in that particular time. And I'm like, the sun doesn't shine down on everyone. They start looking at me. Flowers in the spring don't grow everywhere. When asked my opinion of social injustice, I don't care. Wow. Someone else in a similar situation may say, I don't think it's fair. Mom always did like my brother James best. I wonder if she ever thought about me. See, and it makes people stop and think, what's this dude? What is he talking about?
Right.
And every poem leads to an end. It makes people think. It makes you think. And it's my way of vibing with people. We say vibing with people. And I'm not just going into the store. Most of the time I don't even go through drive-through. If I go through drive-through, I'm still going to say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Everything good? You good?
Right.
Anybody need these hands? You know? And they'll laugh. You know? They'll laugh. You know? They won't know me. If you need some help, just let me know. You know? I can come around, give me a number. But because everybody got something going on in their life. Everybody got something that they want to talk about. And it may be, it's an opportunity for them to share, laugh, break a tear. And when you're able to break into somebody's moment in a few short moments, you've made all the difference in the world.
Gotcha. And tell everybody about your Bus Boys and Poets, going there and doing shows there.
Okay, so here we have Washington, D.C., and we call it the DMV, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. They have seven Bus Boys and Poet restaurants. And every night, I want to say 6 nights of the week, at one of the venues, they have open mic. Like 12th and Monroe Street in Catholic, over there by Catholic University, 14th and B Street, 5th and K Street, in Hyattsville on Baltimore Avenue, in Shirlington, Virginia on Campbell Avenue. Let's see, where are the other ones? The newest one, which I featured, I was the first one to feature, open mic, which in Anacostia over there by the Big Chair, and I'm missing one. I'm missing one, but it'll come to my mind in a few short takes here. And when you go in there, it's $5. You can pay the $5 online or $5 in the door, and it gives you don't have to get on stage. You just go in there and partake in the food and the entertainment. And they have an open mic list of 15 people, and they give each person 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you can sing, dance, or take a public, whatever you want to talk about for 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
And as long as it is not discrediting any race, gender, or any race hate or anything of that nature, they'll go ahead and clap you or cut the mic off.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, if you are in the DC metro area, definitely have to go check Bus Boys and Poets out, and then actually follow Ralph on all of his social media. Yes. Tell everyone about your social media, where to follow you.
I just created my brand name is DC Native Son. So you can go to my webpage, which was just created 2 days ago. It's up live. DC Native Son. That's on all my books. I don't know if how it's going to, along the border, it's going to be DC Native Son, which is Race to the Finish, Into Deep. Another book over here, Wingless Angel. Here we are, From the Cradle to the Grave. So DC Native Son is my webpage. And you can go on Facebook. I'll accept you. As long as you don't look too sexy. I'll accept you, because as my dad said, I don't want nobody prettier than me on my page. I want to keep you there. I'm known to be the only one on my page that looks pretty or sexy or whatever. So if you look sexy or prettier or better than I do, I'm just not going to accept it. So, but you can follow me on Instagram, also Ralph Watkins, poet, and I will accept you. And if you become a friend on Facebook, I generally post every other day. I won't say every day. Whatever I'm inspired to do, I'll go ahead and share a piece or write a piece, a new piece, new stuff. And in my books, I want to say no profanity. On my Facebook posting, little or no profanity, because my mom follows me every day. My mom is probably watching us right now. So my mom follows, posts everything that I do. So everything that I write, so it's very little. Even when I go to Bus Boys and Poets, my mom has gone out there a few times. There's no way I'm gonna go on stage and use profanity. When I'm in public, I don't use any profanity. There may be one or two poems that may have a curse word in it, but no word would I use that I would not use in church. So allowing you to know where I'm at, because even one of my former pastors, he's gone to another church now. He's on my Facebook page. So I don't want to not do the Christian thing. And so everybody has their own faith denomination and everything. And I will share with you if you ask. And since you didn't ask, I will tell you anyway. I would if you are another denomination, I would take the opportunity to learn or to find out something about your religion. But if you know anything about being born and raised a Catholic, then you already know. One of the reasons we don't bring a Bible to church, and you don't see Catholics with a Bible in their hand, because we already know that we have the front row seats in the rapture. We already know we're going to go the first plane out. So that, you have the Jews, the Gentiles, and the Catholics. Catholics we already have our tickets front row seat. So the Jews had their chance. The Gentiles trying to catch up, and the Catholics already know. So that's my spiel for if you wonder why we already walk around without Bibles, because we already know we got front row seats, and we just wish everybody else, good luck, and the best to you as far as religion. And that's one thing I can speak on, because that's the way I was born and raised. But if we're going to talk about religion, just 1 second before we go. And I think it's important that you find God for yourself. I think it's important that you find God for yourself. You study the Word. I don't care what it is, and you look up, because there is a God. You look up and you talk to God, and you reverence Him in everything that you do. When you wake up, when you go to sleep, your thoughts, your feelings, you give them to that higher power. Because I would not be able to have this conversation with you. I don't believe in a big boom theory. I believe that we were created with a divine purpose. And nothing happens without happening, and us giving something to that chance and reverence to saying thank you, to allowing this to happen right now, because without it happening, you and I would not be able to converse.
Right. And you know, the one thing that I kind of live by is that if God's not pleased, it won't happen. You know.
Yeah.
So anything that happens, if he's not pleased with it, it won't happen. So let's kind of piggyback on the other subject matter that we were kind of discussing, going over, is that there's a change in you know, in the area, exactly in the DC area. You know, most people call it what, gentrification, right? But things have changed. There's a shift, you know. And you mentioned that, hey, you were able to walk down some old streets that you could not walk down years ago and was comfortable. Like, oh man, what's going on? You know, that there was a shift, there was a change. You have certain people on both ends, one end and the other end, where they feel like, okay, you know, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, you know, but with time, things happen to change, right? You know?
Yeah.
So we were kind of reminiscing, talk about some of the hole in the wall joints and the different areas, you know, and how they have actually changed. And then we were talking about real estate. Remember, we were talking about
Right.
real estate.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want me to tell this, but you do happen to have some background in the real estate arena also. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And speaking to the young crowd and people that are our age, how do you feel? How important is it for them to know about real estate and to really dig into learning about real estate?
Okay. Here's the thing about real estate. I think everybody should get their real estate license before they make their first purchase. And the reason why I say you should get your real estate license is the best investment. To get your real estate license, it takes approximately 6 weeks. You can either go to a class, weekends, 3 days a week, or online. 6 weeks still is 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Study up the course, take the state exam. The course is only $299, including books, whether you go to class or online. That's a general price, no more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And the state exam, $70. So we're talking about $370. Total
Mm-hmm.
price, $400. That's my $400. So
right.
Let's talk about making this. So now you have your real estate license in 6 weeks, $400.
That's an investment.
That's investment. That's a nice $400 investment. When you make your first purchase, 200, 300, 400, let's say the average person purchase, first time home buyers, depending on where you live. I'm gonna go ahead. We're not even gonna say this area per se, based on let's go with 200,000. I know that's kind of low for this area, but it's still average across the United States. $200,000. As a real estate agent, your 3% commission on 200,000 is 6,000. 3% of 2,000 is 6,000. You do the math. So now you're taking $6,000 and basically put it in your pocket, or to put it towards the purchase of your first home. Go ahead and minus office fees, some other fees as far as your box, this, that, and the other, and plus the $400. So that brings you down to $5,000 to put towards the purchase of settlement to go towards your first home. You haven't even sold your first home. You are your first time home buyer. You have now $5,000 that you did not have. And the only thing you invested was $400. $400. And if you're able to do that for $200,000 house, and you're able to help somebody else within the next 2 months to buy or sell a $200,000 house, that's still another $6,000 in your pocket.
Wow.
You cannot beat those beans. And I tell anybody, you're in the business of helping other people. But the first person, when you want to go out and buy a house, invest in yourself. Have your real estate license, hang it, go out and help people, and you set, oh, I don't have time. You make your own time.
Make your time.
If you're in business for yourself, get a good mentor, somebody that's been in the business for at least 7 to 10 years, that's not greedy, don't have their hands in your pocket,
right.
But you have to be willing to share. Don't be, it's enough pie for everybody. That pie will feed you $5,000 that you didn't have at first because you helped somebody else buy a house.
There you go.
So I'm all in.
Yes, sir. I hear you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it first. The poet, the author, the writer, the real estate guru, Ralph Watkins, man. So this is what I need you all to do. I need you all to
cut off.
What you got? Okay. I need you all to go ahead and follow Ralph Watkins. Look him up. DC Native Son online, IG, Facebook. Follow him and actually go ahead and purchase his books. You can actually Google him. Go on Amazon and then pull up his whole collection on Amazon. Just put his name in and you'll see his whole collection, and definitely do like I did. Let's go ahead and let's support one of our own. Look at that.
Yeah. There you go.
The whole collection.
And I'm gonna leave you with I'm gonna share a piece with you. It's called Legacy.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, let's go.
Each and every one of us are different, each in a paradox of our own. We are scary human beings filled with flesh and viable to the bone. Once the umbilical cord has been cut, amnesty shall not be granted. Understanding life and people is not a one-day course, it is a punishable dream. I like the feel of a rock. It's concrete, it's real, and it doesn't scrutinize with your intelligence. And approaches something without sense, animates the mind, and renders it to both good and evil. A breath of air gives much certainty that a person acts independently of all others, and no one else is responsible past a child's fruitful upbringing. We all need guidance to help us recognize the boundaries that separate us from one another. The posture of a person is an inevitable direction towards prosperity or poverty. It does not profit a man to mill around in groups any longer or to be led by the hand submissively or made. Fools do exhausting work, and they seldom inhale one breath of wisdom for compensation. We know what we're made of. We know our limits. Some things are uncontrollable, and then we have to compensate. And I should gather no flower for my own funeral.
That's what's up. That's deep. That's deep. Well,
yeah, man.
I'm gonna next month. This is what I'm gonna do. Next month we're gonna go buy a couple more books. Okay, we're gonna get a couple more sets, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna every other week we're gonna have giveaways. So we're gonna definitely build on that. Then what we do here, I'm down in Georgia now, is that I work with partnership with the school system here, and then we're looking to partner with more school systems, and we have a program called #WriteYourStory. So we're looking at a lot of these poems and reading these poems. They are really at a point where if a kid picks up this in middle school, high school, and reads through it, it's telling a story, and it's actually going in, and if you look at some of these poems and you read them, and it's like, wow, they can understand the gravity of that situation. And being able to look at a book and say, hey, this guy was just like me, you know, and he's written all of these books, then I could do the same. So that is our chore, is to bring the kids around and say, hey, look, someone just like you, grew up in a family just like you, was able to produce a book, was able to do this and this and this in their lifetime. You can do it too. So we're going to use this as a stepping stone and a spark to help others to, you know, for one, express themselves, get into poetry, and then also follow you and understand, where you started. You started as a young child and just kept writing the majority of your life. So we want to definitely keep supporting you. So what we're going to do coming up this month, we're going to buy a whole nother set of books, support you, and then spread that word. Yep. So thank you again for being the guest on Dad Talk Podcast.
Appreciate it.
Let everyone know how they can reach you and how they can follow you once again.
Okay, I have my new website, DC Native Son. DC, go www.dcnativeson. That will take you straight to my webpage. If you want to purchase books at a different price other than what's on my webpage or Amazon, or you want them autographed, then email me. As you notice, Legacy, you see that I've autographed each one of those books. So if you want an autographed copy of the book, all you have to do is email me, and you can PayPal me, and I will send you the book directly with each book autographed. So go and email me at dmvpoet@gmail.com, dmvpoet. If you go on my webpage, DC Native Son, you will see my email address, and on my Facebook page, Ralph Watkins, you'll see my mug. Look, can you see it? And of course, like I said earlier, if you're prettier than me, I'm not going to accept you as a friend. But I appreciate you for giving me the time and the energy. And
yes, sir.
Hope you and your audience got something out of it. And if they want to send me a message, ask a question, I have no problem with that.
Yes, sir. And what we'll do, I'll repost the recording back onto Facebook also, so people can go on there and get your info. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Thank you again, poet extraordinaire Ralph Watkins, DC Native Son. Y'all go check him out. And this will conclude tonight's Dad Talk podcast. And we will check you guys later. So check on Facebook, check on his website, and then also check the replay on Facebook and get all of his information and follow him. There you go.
You,
yes, sir. Have a good night.
Take care. Good night, sir.
Peace.